Libra, welcome to Earthling Tarot. This is your September 2020 reading. So this will be for the month of September for the sun sign of Libra. It can also apply to your rising sign or moon sign if that's in Libra. So before we get started, I like to explain kind of how I do my readings. I do them in fives. So the first card represents your present sense impressions. So kind of what you think the situation is or will be. And the second card represents your expectations. So that would probably be your expectations for the month in a monthly reading. And then the third card is what's unexpected for you, which is not typically a bad thing, but it's usually the challenge or surprise that comes along during the month. And then the last two cards are your futures. So basically the first one, the fourth card, would be your immediate future, and then the second card is long term. In a monthly reading, I like to think of the first card as the first half of the month, and the second card is either the second half of the month or it's kind of what your outcome from the month is going to be going forward for your long-term future, because it is supposed to be a long-term card. Okay, so just getting started here. Your first card here is Strength. One of the other readings I did this month got this card as well, but I'm getting a totally different feeling for this card, kind of more of the traditional sense with this, which this card is about taming the inner beast. It's about having self-control, basically. Controlling your desires for things that are bad for you. Which can really be anything. You'd have to think about it in terms of your own life. But for a lot of people, it's, maybe it's like an ex or a bad relationship that you keep thinking about, but it's not good for you. Or it's just around you and you don't really have a choice. So like maybe you have a child with somebody and you share custody and you have to deal with the other parent, and it's just kind of a struggle. And so you're thinking, okay, for this month I need to be particularly strong, but you're doing well at it. You're able to do so gracefully, because as you can kind of see in the card, she's kind of a very like graceful, kind of fiery looking woman. She's taming that lion almost like it's her pet. So I feel like, yeah, your basic overall impression at the beginning of this month is that you're going to have to be in control in some capacity. And then your next card, which is your expectations, is the World card, which you got in reverse, but I'll just show it to you right side up so you guys can get an idea. So for me, when I read reverse cards, I don't necessarily take it as the opposite of what the card has to offer. It's more like, what are the negative aspects of this card? So anything that's in here that might be negative, or it's like you're taking things in a negative perspective in this type of reading. So the World card is always about, it's kind of about the completion of a cycle. There's a circle here, which is complete, and there's a person in the center here. They're holding two, what appear to be wands, kind of like a magician sort of situation. There's an angel here. You know, there's wings on all sides of it. So I think it's kind of like this idea of, yes, you've accomplished something, or your expectation is that you will accomplish something by the end of this month, or kind of like in the beginning of October. You're going to complete something. But then the other side of that, I mean, I guess you could call it the negative side of that, but it's not a negative really, is that then you kind of have to think about what it is you're going to do next. You've accomplished something. I mean, maybe you guys had something that was a goal. Maybe you had like, I don't know, people who are fit in some sort of fitness goal. Maybe you're studying for an exam and that will be done at the end of that month, or you got into school, you got a new job, like stuff like that, where you've had quite a satisfactory ending, but then it's kind of like you're going to need to think about, like, now what? And so you guys are kind of sitting in that, you're expecting that you're going to be kind of like, oh, well, now what? Am I going to be bored? Am I going to have to pull from strength to resist like other desires? Like maybe if you have some addiction issues or something, you're thinking like, wow, the second I'm bored, I kind of go back to this thing. And I need new ideas. It kind of feels like that's where you guys are at right now. Not that everyone here necessarily has an addiction. This could also just be that, I don't know, maybe you were controlling yourself at work, quite disciplined. You got a promotion, but then it's like, okay, what do I do after I get this promotion? What do I do now that my kid's back in school and we survived we didn't survive the pandemic, but you know what I mean? Maybe your kid's like in in-person school or something, so you're kind of like, oh, okay, now what? What am I supposed to do with all this time? You know, and you're probably doing other things as well, like, I think that's why this card is in reverse. I think you're kind of expecting that you're going to have this time now that you've completed something, but you may not actually. It's more about like, okay, I achieved this thing, but I actually have to deal with the aftermath of that as well, instead of thinking that, oh, I might just like move on and find a new hobby or something like that. I don't know that you're necessarily going to have the time. And then what's unexpected for you in the situation is the Hermit card, which you also got in reverse, but I'll show it to you right side up. And this card's also interesting to me that they call it the Hermit, because you know, when you think of a hermit, you just think of somebody who's staying home. But this card kind of, I think, you know, I know it's not related to the Hierophant card, but I think it's kind of like the caterpillar phase of the Hierophant card. That's how I like to think of it. The Hierophant card is considered somebody who is wise, and I think that the Hermit is also wise, and kind of just staying away from, you know, social situations or whatever, which, I mean, a lot of people have reasons for doing that right now. But since it's in reverse, I would say the negative side of that, or sort of the flip side, I guess. I don't like to say the negative side. Of that is that, well, actually, I think in this case it would be the positive side instead. Like, instead of you thinking, you know, what's unexpected, the Hermit, you're thinking kind of like I was saying with the World card, that you're just going to be kind of sitting around with nothing to do. But the reality is that, you know, while that might be true, you might actually just be okay with that. You might be pleased that you don't have much to do, and, you know, just relax. You don't even necessarily have to pick up another hobby. Like, maybe you just need to chill out and watch some Netflix or something. I don't know. And it could be that, or it could be that you're thinking you're going to be, well, despite what you think you're going to be doing, I think think it's sort of like how I was saying, it's a nesting period for you to, you know, go through a metamorphosis. So you're kind of in the cocoon phase of what's to come, you know, like maybe you actually need this pause moment because, you know, you had the world. But I don't think that the full extent of this card is going to reach you until like these next two cards. So you might have like a week here where you kind of feel like I'm super free. And you just kind of realize like, oh yeah, I'm actually drained and I just already have to deal with this. You know, like I said, if this is like a new job or something or promotion or like, or maybe if it's like I said, you have to take like an exam or something, or you sent out all the job applications and you haven't heard anything yet, and you're kind of in this phase now. You're like in this incubation period of like waiting. And I think you're expecting to be bored in this phase, but you're not actually. Maybe you will pick up a new hobby during the hermit phase. Maybe you will actually socialize, even though you're not expecting to, because that would be like the opposite of the hermit. I think basically this is like time is not real. Like you are going to be a little bit more occupied, I think, than you think you are, or it's just a time for you to relax after like this very difficult completion, which I get the feeling took most of the year, you know, especially if it was like a new job or starting school, sending out a bunch of job applications. Like I feel like some stuff hasn't really come in for most people, like in reality, like all year basically, unless you got a job in like January or February or started something at that time. And then even then, I think a lot of stuff kind of didn't work out. So you're probably just going to be, yeah, relaxing. And I think that's going to be unexpected for you. Okay, and then here we have the King of Pentacles, which you also got in reverse. But as you can see, it's a king surrounded by pentacles, and wealth and abundance, basically. And he kind of looks sad, to be honest. At least in this, he looks a little bit sad. And there's a lot of like foliage here. There's a lot of growth of fruits, and I mean, this is very, like, this is a card of abundance, prosperity, you know, you name it. That's it's the highest card of Pentacles if you think of it in terms of like an ace wouldn't actually be necessarily the highest, because an ace is usually an opportunity. The king is someone who already has opportunity. So if we're looking at that as the beginning of the month, that makes sense. With the rest of your reading, you're kind of in this gestation period of this opportunity. Like, you are comfortable for now. But I think kind of the important thing to think about this, which is why I think it came out in reverse, is you also kind of need to think about, is wealth all there is? You know, I don't think that this card is necessarily about money. It's more about like success and achievement. But it's kind of like, is that all there is? Success and achievement? Like, shouldn't there be more to your life than sort of just being on this path of go, go, go. Which, I mean, Libras really aren't like go, go, go. You guys are very balanced in the way that you approach everything. And you definitely enjoy yourself on the way. You're definitely not somebody who doesn't stop and smell the roses. So I think maybe for you guys, this is like, don't forget who you really are. And yeah, take that first couple weeks of this month to kind of reflect, relax, do some self-care. Because I think the rest of the year is going to be pretty exciting for you guys, which is apparent here with, this came in reverse, but it's Two of Cups. This is your long-term future. Now, sometimes this is drawn as kind of a love situation, so it could be that for you guys, but it's actually supposed to be how it's sort of depicted here, which is like a card of union or friendship. This could be like a contract. I always think of this as a contract card as well. So if you were like, you know, waiting on job opportunities to come in, and then you get one or whatever, then this is you signing the contract. But it could also be the next thing for you. So like, I guess even if it is a contract, it's the next big thing for you after this kind of completion of either putting out feelers for yourself, like, you know, applying to jobs, finishing school, passing an exam, maybe getting divorced, I just realized, or ending something, which is another reason why you may have had the strength here. Like maybe you just got out of something that's been in your life for years, and then you're like thinking that, okay, like I don't know what am I going to do with myself, but actually you're just going to rest, and then you're going to get to a phase of opportunity, and then, you know, by the end of the month, I think you're going to be seeing kind of a clear future. For some of you, it'll be fairly definite. Like I said, you might be signing a contract of some kind by the end of the month. Possibly some sort of, yeah, like I said, like a job opportunity that you're signing into, or you make a new friend. That's the other thought. Like I said, like the original intent of the card. Or maybe after this hermit period, you're finally going to go out there and socialize. It could also be, if you weren't getting out of something, you may perhaps here you're thinking you need to be strong because you're sort of like lonely. This is in reverse because you thought you were going to end out with someone and it didn't work out. Like you thought you were going to start dating somebody and it didn't happen, or talking to someone, and then you're sort of in this hermit phase of like, I don't need anyone. And then all of a sudden, you kind of start to see the makings of there being other opportunity for you here, which is why I think this is in reverse. Or if you're thinking that you're happy solo, this is you kind of in your power solo. But then by the end of the month, I think you might receive some sort of indication of this. Or you're your own two of cups. And you end up being a lot happier with that than you thought you were going to be. But I think for a lot of you, like I said, it might be signing a contract or a new union. So that's it for your reading today, guys. I forgot to ask you guys at the beginning of this video to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And also, you'll get your monthly reads if you subscribe. I don't post a crazy amount of videos, so you're not going to get like 1,000 notifications or whatever. It's just the 12 signs at the beginning of every month. Leave me a comment if this resonated with you in any way, or, share it with a friend that's also a Libra in some capacity. And that's it. Have a good one. Bye.